and now we're on.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that shit. Like,
Yeah.
I already know who you are.
Yeah, it's all good. So, yeah.
But first and foremost, I like things chronological.
Chronological.
So I'm starting at the very beginning.
Okay.
How did you get into like heavier music?
So that was definitely what was I first like? The first CD I ever got was Smash Mouth's All Star, whatever that one, Walking on the Sun.
Yeah.
Whatever that CD is. I got that one, and then my friend in high school, he played in a band, and then we would go see his band all the time. Then that band played with other bands, and then I became friends with those bands. And then we would always go see this band. They were a local band at the time called Fear Before the March of Flames.
Okay.
Do you know that band?
Mm-mm.
They're like an old screamo-y, kind of converge-y kind of band.
Oh, okay.
So then I would go to shows, but they were only local shows, and those were like the big local shows. So I remember going to see, and then we would go see them, and then I ended up going to shows.
Okay.
So my first show I ever went to by myself, essentially. I knew friends there. It was in 2003.
Okay.
It was Norma Jean and Zayo.
Oh, okay.
And it was supposed to be Under Oath.
Yeah.
At Cervantes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It was like some Solid State tour at the time, and so that was like the first show I ever went to. It ended up just being Zayo headlining, and I don't even think Norma Jean played. They had a drop or something like that, so it was like crazy. And then 2003 to 2006 was just like every spare penny I had was spent on going to shows.
That's amazing.
Going to shows, buying merch, because that was like, what that would have been, sophomore year to senior year of high school.
Okay.
So yeah,
that was just
and then my mom would like drop me off at like sketchy venues and just be like, "I'll pick you up at 11." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yep.
But like literally like on Colfax or like Lodo, like at the time, and like 2003 Lodo was like kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Like it was not like Lodo.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh well, the ballpark's there, and then the venue was called Rock Island that she would always drop me off at, but it was literally a hallway that you would go down, and there were no lights on. There was no like marquee outside or anything.
Shit.
It was just like
building.
It was just a building with a symbol that was like, oh, that's where Rock Island is.
Oh, okay.
And then you'd literally go down this hallway, and there would be a single light bulb with a bouncer at the front that you'd have to buy your tickets.
Yeah.
From. And like, but it was like a good like 60-foot hallway, and my mom dropped my 15-year-old self off. She's like, "I'll pick you up at 11," and I was just like, "What?" And like looking back on that, it's like really funny because you're just like, "What in the world?" Like that's so wild to think about. But yeah, it was just like back in the day.
That was
just what we did. So yeah, so I went to. I mean, every weekend there was a show.
Yeah.
That I would try to go to from 2003 to 2006.
That's
so. But yeah, I saw. I don't even know how many hundreds of shows.
Oh God, I bet.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah,
you're going to shows. Are you buying? You're buying merch.
Yeah.
Are you doing records and CDs and stuff too?
Yeah, so I actually got into collecting records because at Wax Tracks at the time, all their records that weren't new were $3. So literally, you could go buy 5 records for the cost of one CD in 2003 because it was like a CD was $15.
Yep.
But you could buy 5 records at $3 a pop.
Yeah.
And you're just like, this is awesome. Like, yeah, this is crazy. So like I ended up getting like a ton of like classic rock because that's all it was. It was like the classics. So it was just like, and it was always the classics that were like either the most popular or not popular at all. Like so like they never had like Priest or Maiden because those like sold instantly.
Right.
Because they were like original copies of them. They never had any Metallica because that's like actually worth money.
Yeah.
But it was like I owned every Pink Floyd record. I own a lot of Judas Priest records. I own like most like Journey records, most Styx records, like just because they made so many of them.
Right.
So I was like, yeah. So I got a lot of like stuff, and I would remember going to Wax Tracks and be like, I got $20. I can buy like a whole like a whole bunch of new records.
Yeah.
Like that was awesome. So I'd always go, and I could always get like 5 or 6 records for $20.
Dude.
And it was awesome. So like my first like from 15 to 16. So my parents bought me a record player when I was 15. And when I was 16, I started driving.
Okay.
So I was able to
just
go. So
yeah.
And so then the worst part was like, do I spend my money on records or do I spend my money on shows? Like that kind of thing. But I mean, it was you could do both. So
that's still
right
internal.
Well, I don't really buy too many records unless I'm on tour anymore. So because I mean, all the record stores. There's a couple cool record stores in Denver, but I would save my money for like the cool record stores out of the state. So
totally. Like Amoeba and like stuff like
Amoeba
that.
and like a bunch of smaller places like that.
Totally.
But yeah, that was definitely like. But yeah, that was like the nice thing is like getting into records was really easy because they were so cheap.
Right.
And even new records were only $15.
Right.
Like, yeah, so it's like super, super cheap. But like I have just way too many, like I have an entire section of my record collection that's impossible to catalog because it's like old records are just really hard to figure out what pressing they are.
Yeah.
But I probably have like 300 records of just classic rock.
Okay.
That I like got because it was so cheap.
And it was
like,
just like there.
there. And literally everyone's just like, I mean, we have 30 copies of Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're $3. Like, buy them, whatever.
Yeah, just take it.
Yeah, just take it. They're like, please take this. And then they had the dollar section too at Wax Tracks. I think they still have like a dollar section, but like
probably.
you found some gems in there every once in a while. So and you could still you go listen to them too to see if you liked it or not,
right. Yeah,
which was nice because you're just like, oh cool, I can go listen to this. Like, and see
it's used. Yeah, so you don't have to open it.
Yeah, you don't have to open it. And that was before streaming. I would remember spending like 4 hours in Wax Tracks just like with a stack of records, going and listening to a couple songs. Like, cool, I think I like this, and then I'll just buy it. Like that.
Put in keep in the discard file.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Exactly. And that was what we did back in the day. We'd go to and Wax Tracks was always the cool one because they always had like the obscure stuff.
Yep.
Twist and Shout was nice too though because Twist and Shout always has a good collection, but but like Angelo's was even good too at that time. So it was
they've always been around.
Yeah, they've always been around.
Like, how did you start thinking like, okay, I'm doing this stuff. I like listening. I'm gonna start making music. Was that kind of like, were you trying to do that before even all of this happened?
Well, so I started playing guitar when I was 15. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I guess I started playing bass when I was 15, and then for my 16th birthday, my parents, I was like, I'd like a nice guitar for my 16th birthday, and they're just like, okay, cool. Well, if we buy you a nice guitar, you have to take lessons, and I was like, bet, like let's do it, let's go, like let's go. So I ended up getting a pretty nice guitar. Like, I mean, it was like a $500 guitar at the time, which is like 16. You're like, oh, that's a lot. Like, I think I paid maybe $1,000 for my car. So,
right.
So it was like, this is like super nice. And so like I ended up taking lessons, and then I ended up taking 3 years of guitar lessons.
Okay.
So it wasn't just a matter of like my parents, because my parents didn't want me to like quit. They didn't want to buy this $500 guitar and then have it sit in my room because like. That's the thing. That's a thing that a lot of kids do, but I was just like, I'm different. I'm not one of those kids. But yeah, and I remember literally being 16, taking guitar lessons, and then I would go to school and I'd go home and play guitar.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends I would go to shows. I would play guitar from like 6 to 10. Yeah. Like some days, and I was just like, this is awesome. I love this.
Just playing the riffs.
Just playing riffs and like learning stuff and like actually thinking about it and stuff like that. And I also had a job. I had a part-time job at the time too, so it was just like. And also, high school was like easy.
Dude, it is
like,
easy.
Everyone was just like, "Oh, I can't believe you're just like doing." I was like, first off, I don't play sports. Second off, like this, you just show up.
Literally,
if you literally just show up, they'll pass you.
Yeah,
and that's all you got to do. And my parents were like, "You got to get good grades, go to college." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get B's. Like that's fine." Like that was easy, so easy to do. And so then, so then I got done with that, and then college, and then and so I think I started my first band in high school.
Okay,
we were terrible. Like I don't even remember like why we started that band, but like we'd all go to shows. We'd all go to like hardcore shows.
Yeah.
But we weren't a hardcore band. We were like kind of like a metalcore band, and we were terrible, like just absolute horseshit. But like it was just how it went. So then I started that band, and then that band played 2 shows, I think, and they were just at our friend. Like so, there was actually like a church in Littleton that used to have shows in the basement.
Oh wow.
And it was only local shows. It was weird. Like, it was in like downtown Littleton, and that was where I saw my friend's band play all the time.
Okay, yeah.
And they would do shows. They would never have any touring bands, but it would just be like the cool kid, like cool friend bands.
Yeah, you're like, hey.
So I think we played one of those shows. I don't even know. We might have played someone's birthday party or something like that, and that was it. Like that's all that you could do in high school. Like nowadays, the kids are spoiled.
I
know. You're in a high school band. You can play a legitimate venue.
Yeah, actually, you can go play Lost Lake or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever. Yeah.
So they are definitely spoiled. So, but yeah, no. And then after that, I don't know. Yeah, it was like a year or two before I joined another band, or I started another band after that. So, and then that second band was the first band that ever really did anything.
Okay.
And then it just kind of
just like took off. Because how many bands have you been in?
I remember it was one of those like Facebook things, just like tell me about all their bands and their projects, and I was just like, oh man,
yeah.
The last time I remember counting, it was 22.
Okay.
But it's definitely, it might be like 27 now.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'd really have to like do a detailed like list. And my Metal Archives page only has like half of them.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I see.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that
Oh
band,
wait,
too.
hey, there's me. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's like funny how it's like I've never updated my Metal Archives page, but it has me, and then I'm the band member that has like 15
That's
entries
cool,
into
though.
it. So just like that's funny. So yeah, no, I at this point I don't even know.
Yeah.
And I want to start like 3 more, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because you're doing music. I want to say full time.
boy, it's more than full time.
Yeah, but like,
yeah.
did you? So you're playing bands, and how did you kind of get into doing sound stuff too?
Live sound, it was definitely because of Seventh Circle.
Okay.
So like Oreyn took over in 2012, and I would always go to shows, and I always liked like the sound of things because I play guitar,
Right.
so I know what like good tone was and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then he taught me how to do the sounds, how to run the sound system there, and then like the first show I ever did at Seventh Circle was Tiger's Jaw and Pianos Become the Teeth.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm getting those confused, but like it was like a 200-person show. It was the first show I ever ran sound for because Oreyn was doing video stuff. But he was there doing stuff like that, and he's just like, "Well, I'll set it up and help you changeovers, but like you got this." I was like, "Sure, let's go for it." And so like,
fine.
Yeah. So I was just like, "All right, this is easy." Like I was like, "That's not hard." And then I only did it at Seventh because it was like the only place that I really wanted because I had a job. Like I had a corporate job at the time. So I was just like, I'll just hang out here on the weekends. That's like my social life was like doing that and doing the sound thing and everything there. And then when I quit that corporate job, that was when I started doing studio stuff.
Okay.
So because I was in bands who had recorded, like we recorded my death metal band from 2009. We recorded with David Sanchez from Havoc.
Oh,
like,
cool.
In his mom's basement.
Yeah.
Like, because he was like nice. He was just one of those like, hey, I like your band. Like, if you ever want to record, let us know. And we're like, oh man, because he did like the first 3 Havoc records, I think, by himself.
Really?
Well, the first demo, the EP, and like the first record fully.
Yeah. Wow.
So their first like real releases, like he did himself.
Wow.
And so he had like a small studio in his basement at the time. So we like went and did our death metal band in the basement there, and it was like cool. So I was like, so I had made records before,
right,
and I knew the recording process, and then like that translated to live sound pretty easily.
Yeah.
And then like
it's
not that
different.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, to get good is insanity, but to like be not the worst is pretty easy. So
right, yeah.
like yeah, to be the best is like you'll spend a lifetime trying to be there. But to be not the worst, you just have to try like 10%.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. Like how low the bar is to be a good sound person. Like not even good, just like tolerable.
Yeah.
Like yeah. So,
no, I agree.
I think it was like the summer of 2014 was when I started doing live sound or like sound like as a job. That was the first band I ever got like paid. Whoever paid me to do a record.
That's cool.
Like yeah, but that was after I'd already done like my death metal band's record, my hardcore band's record with other people, and then I did like my metalcore band's record with like a producer, like who was there, like sitting there, just like, play that different. Yeah. Okay, play that riff better, and then you would do like 10 takes of a riff, and like I remember we spent 40 hours on my guitars just for the record. And granted, to this day, it's probably one of the best sounding records I've ever made, but it's insanity. Like you're just like, wow, I wish that more bands could do that.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't think a lot of bands need that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
Like there's a balancing act for sure. Like there's no need to go that far down the rabbit hole. Yeah. But at the same time, sometimes it's nice to see what's down there.
Totally. So, no, I agree with that. So how did you open up your own studio then? Were you just like,
it was
just screw it, I got to do this myself? Or like...
That was like pretty much an accident. So like. Well, it was because I was doing sound at Seventh Circle one summer night, and one of the first band I ever recorded, they were like whining about how they couldn't afford to record, but then they wanted to do an EP because they have all these songs, and I was like, well, I can record you. They're like, have you ever recorded before? I was like, no, but like I know how to make a record, so like, and I record demos of my own band, and they're like, okay. I was like, come over to my house this weekend, and we'll do it, and I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so like that was when we just came over, and I borrowed my buddy's interface and I combined it with my interface, and I had 4 channels, and I borrowed all of his microphones and some microphones, I think, from Seventh Circle, and I just did drums and guitar.
Yeah.
It was drums and guitar just at once. and I had like a Axvex like for my guitar for my band, so I knew what guitar tones were supposed to be.
Right.
Everything else, I was just kind of like, I don't know, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And the house I was living in at the time was my roommate's practice space. So they had a drum set like all set up, and I was like, yeah, just bring your cymbals
Just
and
mic
like,
that up,
yeah,
yeah.
just like, and I literally just did. I think I did an overhead, kick, and snare,
Nice.
and that was it. And then the guitar player just overdubbed his parts. The bass player overdubbed his parts, and the vocalist kind of sang something. And then, oh yeah, because I didn't know anything about mixing. I knew how to record. I didn't know how to mix anything though.
Yeah.
So my roommate at the time, he had just bought the Creative Live was doing these like online creative classes, learn how to do something from the pros. And Kurt Ballou, who's like the guitar player in Converge.
Oh, okay.
He's a producer actually. He's like that's his gig. Like that's his main job is like recording bands.
Oh, interesting.
He did a course. It was just a 1 day long course. He's like, here's how I mix a song. So I literally just like watched that video and took notes and I did what he did. And I was just like, this is what Kurt Ballou does. And I was like, this sounds bad. Why does my song sound bad? I'm doing what he does.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because the band that I recorded was like not good.
Yeah.
I mean, they were fine. They were like a local punk band. So it was just like, they're fine. It was just one of those, it's like the punk band of teenagers. Like,
right. It's like that compared to like a national touring band.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking like
a little bit different. So, but like, so what I did was I ended up just like copying all of like Kurt Ballou's like mix notes, what he does, and then I just gave it to them pretty much for free, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this band sounds so good," and I was like, "They're like everybody was like, we know this band kind of sucks, but you made them sound good, like sound decent." I was like, I did my best, guys. Like that's how it was, and I didn't have like good speakers at all, like or anything. I was just like, I think I was using like some like old stereo system, like that. Yeah, that's literally what I was listening, like mixing on from my computer in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And like, luckily, my roommate at the time, he had gone to audio school, so he knew like he knew what the like proper procedure was and everything. And so like he gave me some pointers and stuff like that. And then literally they put out their demo, and that weekend that we recorded, their friend's band hit me up.
Oh shit.
And they were like, yo, I saw you were doing their band. Can we come in and record? And I was like, sure. Like, I haven't even sent them anything. He's like, oh no, he took video of like the recording and he sent it to me and it sounds good. So like, can we come record? And so like, it was just like, I don't think they ended up recording with me. I think they ended up doing something else, but like, it was one of those just like, if you build it, they will come sort of thing. And it was like, cause there were so many small bands that like couldn't afford to go to a real studio. So I was like, okay, I'll charge you nothing pretty much. Like it was not much at the time, but then like, and then the second band I ever recorded, it was just a singer-songwriter friend, like from Seventh Circle. He just came in, he busted out like 13 songs in like a day, just like 2 takes each. And then I was like, cool, there we go. And then after that was Mark, the drummer in Victim of Fire. His punk band came in and recorded because he's like, oh, if you could make them sound that good. Their band was pretty good at the time, so that was like, you could definitely make us sound better. I was like, all right, cool. And so that came out, and then I ended up doing. Oh no, I think in between there, I ended up doing a 9-piece ska band.
Oh
like,
shit!
Just like it was wild.
That sounds insane.
I've told every engineer, I'm just kind of like, guys, like if you kind of don't know your stuff until you've recorded a 9-piece ska band.
I fucking bet.
Yeah, because it's like it's crazy. You're just like, why is there so much happening?
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like not much is happening too. It's weird. It was wild. So so 9-piece ska band, and then there's like a punk band, and then just kind of just like, and then it's kind of just like clock. It's like been wild because there's definitely up and down times, but it's like wild how it's like every 3 months or something like that. I'll just get hey, we're ready to do a record. I'm like, cool, I'm available.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Even if I had like super slow months, I'll be like, cool, like let's do a record. And then like I don't have to, like, I've never done any marketing.
Yeah.
Really. It's just been like people know who I am, and then it's kind of nice. It does have its downsides too, because it's like I make no real money. Like I don't really make any money, but at the same time, it gives me the freedom to do anything. Because I can just be like, oh, hey, I'm on tour, then can't work.
Right.
So, and I don't have a boss telling me I have to work. So it's just like, oh, or I can plan out my times around like shows and tour and stuff like that. And so it's like pretty nice for that reason. So it's nice for that reason. I wish I made more money, but that's everybody. So
that's
literally, I think every human being alive is just like, can I make some more money, please? So, and I'm like, yeah, it's whatever. Like, it's just how
you're
it
doing
is.
what you're doing.
I'm doing what I like, and what I like is just sitting there editing drums, just constantly, just like, I have to edit so many drums, so, and that's fine. That's just part of the game. Like, it's what I signed up for, and it's just
true.
part of the process.
Is your priority? Well, yeah, I guess you kind of answered it. Cause is your priority then like just touring and working with your bands then and doing that?
I mean,
sort of
ideally,
stuff?
yeah, because that is like a certain window. You can only do like the band thing for so long before you're just like, all right, this band's irrelevant, like, and that kind of thing. And also, it's just like touring, like, everybody in all my bands is kind of like set up to like be able to tour,
right?
So it's like, we got to do it now, like, or because it's like the minute somebody has a kid, the minute somebody like moves, that like it's just all happen. Marriage, kids, moving, that is an inevitability.
Yes.
In a musician's life, you will know somebody who is doing that. If you pretty much are getting married or having kids, you cannot do like touring on the level that you like you have to do in order to like make it, quote unquote, make it. So you can definitely do like smaller things along the way, but like that's the thing that kind of kneecaps a lot of like bands, is not realizing the actual commitment that it is to like be in a band.
Right.
Means your life kind of revolves around your tour schedule.
Yes.
Granted, if you're making money on tour, that's good, because that means your life revolves around your work, which is what everybody does, regardless. But yeah, for right now, it's pretty much like for the next 5 years, I think it's going to be like just try to get the bands to where we can make money playing music.
Yeah.
And that way, it's like, even when that band breaks up, it's like, oh, hey, we will all have networks
totally
to where we can go play in other bands or go tour in other people and like do that kind of, because like everybody in all my bands right now wants to do that.
Right.
So it's just kind of like building your network up to get to that point.
Totally. So do you think like, because you're in how many bands right now? 5?
4 active ones. Then one that whenever Alex gets his PhD, he will reevaluate that. That's his band. I just play guitar in that band, and that's fine. So but I'm in 4 bands. Yeah.
Cool. So I was gonna say, like, I don't know how to word it, because do you think you have a main one? Do you have like a way of, you're like, okay, this year I'm gonna work with this band, this, and then take that like, year off?
It kind of naturally, the cards like fall that way. Ideally, I'd like all my bands to be firing on all cylinders. That's just literally impossible.
Yeah.
Because I'm the driving force in all of them, and I am burnt out constantly. So no, it just kind of ebbs and flows. Depends on what it needs to get done for each band.
Okay, because I was gonna say, I feel like Victim would be your. That's like.
Yeah, that's kind of so that band. So Victim of Fire is the band that is the easiest to do the most with.
Yes.
So it's like, because we've put the most time in at this point. Like we've spent the most time on the road.
Yep.
We've spent the most time in the studio. We've done pretty much everything that like a band has to do, to where it's like there's not much friction involved with doing that. And that's why it's like, oh, cool, we can just go do that.
Right.
Like, and that's fine. I mean, and just go do tour is a lot of work, but it's like there's a lot less friction
it's like
involved in that band.
Well-oiled machine.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that band start? Because I thought you said it was originally like a side band.
Yeah, so Victim of Fire was actually, it started as a side project to get me better at mixing.
Oh,
so like in 2015, I had been recording for like 2 years, and I've been doing a lot of records, and I was just like, man, I really need to get better at this.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was like, well, let me just write a bunch of music, and then I'll mix it.
Yeah.
And then I'll release it, and then I'll kind of get more like, it's essentially just like building my portfolio.
Right.
So like Victim of Fire was like my portfolio builder band. I made 2 bands to literally write music so that I could build my portfolio.
Yeah.
So, and that was my black metal band and Victim of Fire.
Cool.
And then Victim of Fire, I wrote literally one. It was also a songwriting exercise too. I was like, can I write like a punk album in a month? Like 10 songs, start to finish, or like stuff that I would like.
Yeah.
I'm like, I played all the instruments. I had guitar, bass, vocals, most of the vocals, and then I programmed the drums. And then that was really just to get me better at drum programming too, like, because that's
a whole other skill.
It's a whole other skill
within itself.
And it's like not hard, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
And so like I ended up recording. So I was in a band at that time called Excarnation, and we had an entire album of material written, and then pretty much everybody quit. Like, I was just like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, I still can remember how to play these songs. So I literally, like, one day in the studio in between depressive episodes. I was like, okay, let me record all these songs while I remember them. So I literally recorded all the songs and I like played I mouth recorded the drum beats
Nice.
that we would play live because it
Yeah.
was still stuck in my head. And I was
Yeah.
like, cool. These are the 11 songs. I'm going to teach myself how to program drums one day.
Cool.
And I think it was like a month later, I was like, okay,
It's that day.
today is that day. And so I remember I spent 72 hours, like, I blocked off 3 straight days and I like brute forced myself to learn how to program drums, which sucked so much. But at the end of it, I was like, I programmed drums for this record. They did not sound good, but I learned how to program drums for the record, and they were pretty close to what like we played.
Yeah.
And like, and the reason why I did that was because the drummer in the band, he just kept blowing me off for like,
okay.
he's like, yeah, I'll come in and record. I was like, dude, please just show up and just play the songs. Like, you can
Yeah.
play them as shitty as you want.
Right.
I will make it work because I can edit them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want to have to program drums for this record. He's just like, yeah. Never showed up.
Yeah.
Like, it was like 3 months later. And so I was
Drummer
like, well,
moment.
glad thing I scratched out these songs with a click so that I can program them to them.
Yeah.
And so then I ended up doing the drums for it, re-recording all the guitars, did all the bass, and then my vocalist at the time, or the vocalist in that band, he came in and did the vocals for the album.
Cool.
We put out that album posthumously, essentially. Like, we had already broken up, and I was like, hey, here's the Xcarnation record. And everyone's just like, what the, what? And so, yeah, it's 2016. I put out the Victim of Fire record, the Xcarnation record, and then my black metal bands record, my solo black metal project in like 3 months. And it was like, what do you do? I was like, dude, I've just been cooking, man. Like, let me go. And it was funny because Victim of Fire, I put it out and like a bunch of European blogs and stuff like that they were just like, oh, this is a cool album from a cool, it was very like broken English review of like cool album with influences such as blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, it got shared by a bunch of blogs in like Greece and like Romania and stuff like that. It was like, weird. And I was just like, bizarre. Oh, there's a whole side of the internet, like punk crust, like death metal stuff that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
And they just found it on Bandcamp and it was free.
Yeah.
So they just listened to it and downloaded it. And
cool.
I was just like, oh wow, that's crazy. And like, I had my buddy Sean, who's the singer in Noctambulous. He did half the song, like some of the songs on the record. And I had my buddy Jeff, who was in my first band, first like real band. I had him do some songs on it, and then like that was the first record. Cool. It's terrible. Don't go listen to it. It's awful. It's only on Bandcamp. Like, some of the riffs are pretty okay. Songs are stupid because you can tell they're programmed drums. Like, they're pretty bad programmed drums. But I had to learn how to do that kind of stuff. And so at the time, there's a time and a place. I may end up remixing that record someday, but like, it's maybe when Victim of Fire breaks up and the label wants a discography wants a discography remaster or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I might do that. But
yeah, like, just put like all 20, like 30 songs on like one disc.
Yeah, right.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because at this point, it's like actually my most prolific band because we're gonna go start our 3rd record next week, recording it, and then 3 records, 2 EPs, a demo, and a single essentially. Yeah. And then a covers EP. So like, yeah, I think all in all, like, we can almost play, like, we can probably almost play 30 songs. Yeah. Like, that's just our discography pretty much. But like, it's wild to think about. But yeah, so that band started as just a brute force. I need to get better at mixing and songwriting. And now it's like my main band essentially. So I'm just like, weird how just time just turns it into that. Yeah. So. Yeah. And then it only happened because in 2017, my bands at that time, at the end of 2017, all my bands I was in broke up pretty much. Wow. Which is only 2 or 3. Yeah, I was thinking it was 3.
Only 3.
Well, the only band that really didn't break up was JSR, and then because that's not my band. Like, I just play guitar in that band, right? And so then I was like, oh man, like, maybe I should start Victim of Fire as like a real band. And then in 2018, we played one show. Okay, we played one show. It's me and Mark and Sean, and it was bad. Like, we played like a 15-minute set, and it was awful. Like, nice. It was pretty bad. So. And it was only because our other bands couldn't play that show at the time. Yeah. So we played that one show. I was like, let's table this project for a while. Yeah. Let's both get better. Let's all get better just as our own things. Yeah. And then we came back to it in 2018, played a couple shows. And then 2019, I guess it was the end of 2018, we started doing that 2019 was when we really started to get the ball rolling. But
yeah, because that's when I saw you guys was
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
And you had a full like lineup. And
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
So because we played with Integrity that year at the Oriental.
Mm.
And that was kind of a wild, like, weird show. We did not need to be on that show, but like, we
But
played
you were
that
there.
show. We were there, and we played it, and it was fine for what it was. And so, yeah, and then COVID, and then we had an EP. COVID happened, and then
made an album.
Yeah, and then made an album over COVID. Then once COVID was over, essentially, once it was good enough for us to tour, we went immediately on tour.
Yeah,
and just went for it.
Nice.
And it's been kind of all gas, no brakes ever since. So
I mean, that's great. Had you toured with other bands before Victim?
Or yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I had done a tour with my band Spit Black in 2017.
Okay.
It was like we didn't lose money, but it was not a good tour. It was just like, ooh, this is rough. We played some really sick shows and we played some really bad shows.
Okay.
It was, and the good shows did not outweigh the bad shows enough to where we pretty much played in Pueblo and it was like good show, but we made no money at it. And so everybody's like, yeah, I'm out. I was like, that's fair. Like, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
I get it. And so like that band broke up and then it was just kind of like, what do I do? And then my other band, JSR, we toured in 2018. That was actually a really fun tour.
Cool.
That was a good tour too. We made a little bit of money on that one. We had a lot of fun, did that tour, came home, didn't hate each other.
That's great.
But then Alex started his PhD program, like literally the month after we came home from tour. So I was just
he was on that bus like that.
Yeah, he was like, oh man, I gotta go like start my PhD now. And so, and he's been doing that ever since. So,
that's a long time.
Yeah, so I mean, the PhD program can be 5 to 10 years essentially. And I have no idea where he's at.
You're just like he's
doing his thing, and that's fair. Like he lives in Fort Collins. He's married. He's doing his thing. He's living the life, and that's fair.
Living the dream.
Yeah. So we were talking about that on tour actually, like the other week. We're just be like, I wonder if Alex is still alive. Like, he's still doing doctor things up in Fort Collins. And there's like he'll call us when he's ready to get the band going.
He'd be like,
because it's me and Mark. Yeah, because Mark plays drums in that band, and I play guitar. And I was like, he will call us when he's ready.
Oh yeah.
But until then, we're just like, let him live his life.
Yeah.
So,
And you guys got your own.
Yeah,
thing.
we've got our own thing, and like we're all in multiple bands, and so it's just how it goes. So
yeah. I was gonna. So we talked about Victim.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to briefly talk about. Yeah. Try and get everybody.
Oh yeah. Because
you're just such a busy guy.
Yeah. So
because you also have Only Echoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ignorant Bliss.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Oreyn.
And then Oreyn. Yeah. So yeah, Only Echoes was the band. It's actually my longest running band. Well, technically.
Yeah.
As an active band, because I think we started in 2018.
Okay.
And so Only Echoes does have a new record. Like we're working on a new record. Our bass player Ben, he wrote a bunch of sick songs, and but like that band is like a slow moving giant. It's just like just like getting the balls to roll. You're just like, but it's good because once the balls are rolling, it has momentum.
Happening. Yeah.
But getting it like started is a lot of work, just because it's like it's more artistically driven rather than like visceral driven.
Yes.
It's very much meant to be like, hey, look at this art that we're making. And it's very intricate.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of little moving parts. And when you don't have all the moving parts well oiled, they tend to break.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
We played one show this year and it was really good. We played in the Springs and it was fun.
Cool.
But yeah, it's just like everyone's so busy. So, but we do have a new record. We're working on that record. We'll see when. I don't know. That band, the nice thing about that band is it doesn't have a timeline.
Well,
there's nothing pressing that we have to do.
Yeah.
It's also instrumental post-metal. Right. So it's like
really good.
A niche of a niche of a niche. And there's not much in that realm happening all the time.
Yes.
So we can kind of do whatever we want in that regard. And then Ignorant Bliss is the hardcore band.
When did that start? Is that new?
Yeah. So that was funny. So we played our first show last year.
Oh, shit. Okay.
It was August of last year. So that band had been a band for like about a year already. We were drumming with our old drummer. And for about a year we had 4 songs, and then we got our vocalist Alex in, and then we were like practicing and trying to do that because it was also like we were balancing trying stuff, so it was just slow moving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we had our first show scheduled. We released the demo, and our drummer quit the weekend before the first show. And so it was just like, well, what do we do?
Yeah.
And I was like, do you guys want to still play the show? And everybody's like, yes, I would love to
Oh
play
my
the show, because
gosh.
it was the Body Box Snuffed on Sight
Oh, fuck.
Corpse Pile show at
Oh,
7th.
yeah.
I think it was like 200 paid heads at that show.
Yeah.
In the end, it was like, for a first show, we wanted our first show to be like a bop, and that was
Mhm.
gonna be a bop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guaranteed bop.
So we ended up, I hit up 3 drummers like the day that our drummer quit. I was like, yo, do you want to be in a beatdown band? And I got yeses from all of them.
Yeah.
But like the only ones like, but Ethan was the most like
Yeah.
enthusiastic about it. And so
Yeah.
he was just like, yeah, let's definitely do it. So well, for the first show, we ended up having Ethan and Ray, who plays in Among the Bodies and Chronos Compulsion.
Yeah.
He played 2 songs, and then Ethan played 4 songs.
Oh,
So, because
okay.
Ethan's like, hey, I don't think I can learn all 6. I can learn 4 though.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. So the day of that show, Ray and Ethan both showed up. We ran the songs with both of them twice, and we're like, are you good? They're like, yeah, we're good. So like, we
Dude.
played a set with 2 drummers.
Wow. That's
For our
amazing.
first show, and then the next week we had a tryout between both of them.
Yeah.
And that was honestly like a really hard decision. We were like,
bet.
man, both you drummers are great. Like, you both are really into it. I mean, but you've seen Harvested and you've seen Ethan, like,
yeah, totally.
insane drummer. And we're just like, I was like, Ray, we love you, but we have to go with
yeah, like he's
like,
just,
yeah,
he's on his shit, dude.
yeah. And
It's
so
like,
yeah, and it was funny because like it was no harm doing, no, like everyone was like, no bad blood or anything. We're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like that's awesome. And he's like come do shows, and he's like been stoked for us, so it's
That's
been
cool.
great. So so yeah, so we're doing that, and then we just put out an EP last month
Right.
with that band, and we have a couple new songs we're working on. We're trying to figure out if we can tour, because we got all that Willie money. So, like, that band just like makes money hand over fist. We're just like, how have we played like 5 shows and have like so much money? Like, it's a good problem to have, but like there's something to say about hardcore in general. Just hardcore,
dude,
is hype right now, and
it's
kids are into it. So
the fucking shit.
yeah,
right now.
so yeah, so we're debating on what we want to do in the fall. We're probably going to do a short, like a week-long tour.
Cool.
And then go and see what happens from there. So we have to write more, just because it's kind of like you're always writing.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
But once the Victim of Fire record is done, then I'm gonna write more for that project and kind of keep the ball rolling. It's one flame is lit, and then you have to light another flame.
Yeah,
just keep going down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Oreyn is the last band, and Oreyn is like, it sucks because Oreyn is the side project of a side project, but it's mentally very taxing, because they were just like, because I don't write any of the music, I just play the music,
right?
And I want to make sure that it's really, really good. So like, we just spend a lot of time like going over, getting it down and stuff like that. And it's not that it's that hard. It's just, since I didn't write it, it feels unnatural.
I get what you mean, because you're like you're playing the finished project.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't get to go through the trials of like, oh, this sounds sick.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to do that. Yeah.
It's different. It's different, and it's good, because I get to do something that I don't get to do very often, because not many musicians that I'm in bands with are like quick writing, like good at writing too.
Yeah.
And Zach, our drummer, and also it's like, I think it's like the drummer writing perspective is so much different than like, oh, I played guitar for my entire life, I'm gonna write guitar things.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I played drums for a long time, but I can also play guitar. And also, it's just like the out of the box ideas are very out of the box ideas.
Yeah.
And so, and that's not even that crazy, but it's like,
you're just like, I wouldn't do this.
I would never. Yeah, there's things that I'm like, wow, that's clever, and I would never do this. And I was like, that's really hard to remember how to do. And so I just like sit there and I'm playing. And I'm like, okay, and it's one of those, like, it's just with repetition comes like muscle memory and stuff like that. And so that's just been like we don't have any timeline on that. Zach has so many songs to like go off of, so that band's gonna kind of be like, I think we're just gonna release singles like every once in a while and see how it goes. Just like so busy, because Zach's going to Europe literally twice this year, and then Ben joined another band, and I'm
no way, did he really?
Yeah. Yeah, so Ben is playing bass in that band Abandons. They're like another instrumental band. He's joining that band for like the next couple months, because he wrote their bass for their record, and he recorded their record with them.
Yeah,
he's gonna do their shows like through their record lease and stuff like that. So, and they want to tour and stuff like that. And that band is awesome too. That band is like they're very posty, like very like soundscape, like
Yes.
ethereal kind of stuff. They're awesome. I love that band.
No, that sounds cool. I need
But
to.
yeah, Ben plays
listen to-
bass in that band now too. So
my
and so
goodness.
we're just like stretched so thin,
Yeah.
and we're trying to get it. And like we're trying to figure that just like so many little moving pieces.
Yeah.
But it's just how life is. Like being an adult playing music is a lot of just like sacrifice. Sacrifice
Yeah.
is just mental and like just like, okay, how are we gonna make this work? This is like kind of crazy. So
Yeah.
but that's pretty much where it's at. And then like the other band JSR, whenever Alex gets his PhD done, he'll hit up the band, the ancient band chat, be like, "You guys want to play a gig?"
Yeah.
We're just like
last seen,
yeah, right.
like 2017,
Yeah.
and you're like a new message.
Yeah, well,
wow.
Well, the funny part about that band is so easy because it's just like melodic pop punk kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And like we never practiced like ever. We
Yeah.
When we were recording our record, we would practice, but like before a gig, we're like, "Oh, what set list do you want to play?" Okay, cool. I'll run it at the studio and on my own, and then we'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then me and Mark are like, as long as we can remember how the song starts, we'll be fine.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
but like it's just like
find a way.
4-chord like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, like kind of like as long as you remember the structure roughly and you play in the key, then nobody really cares. So yeah, it's awesome. So
that's great.
As long as Alex doesn't forget the lyrics, then you're pretty much like, oh, there we go. We're a good band. So yeah, but that's kind of that's where it is. And then like I want to start like 2 other bands.
I was gonna ask about that. What are the other 2 you want to?
I want to start a mellow death band so bad, like just like melodic death metal, just straight melodic death metal. I would just like In Flames, Grave, Dismember, like melodic death metal.
Yeah,
I can't find. Don't know a single drummer that would be into that.
Yeah. Well, drummers are hard to find anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Melodeath is like Melodeath, just like power metal, is one of the most intense musical, like for drummers, that you could do with like so little flair.
Yeah,
like it's not like tech death where you get a flex. It's literally like, oh, can you just play for like 5 minutes?
Yeah, literally,
like just constant 16th of a bass, and then can you blast beat?
Yeah,
like. But not like flare blast beats. You're just like it's kind of like black metal, like where it's just like wow, you have to have the stamina and the repetitiveness.
Yes.
And you get no like the drums in like every Melodeath band is like the backbone, but like you cannot be flexy at all.
Yeah, no,
because
otherwise everything falls apart.
Yeah, because it's all about the guitar riff. So, and I'm just like, man, I'd love to do that. And I've talked to I know people who would be into. I could probably find every member except a drummer.
Yeah, no, that's the hardest.
Yeah,
fucking
because you have to do the most work and get the least amount of attention. And so I'm just kind of like, well, there's a no-win scenario pretty much, and that's why everyone's doing like the OSDM thing. I feel these days because you don't have to have an insane drummer. You just have to have a solid drummer, and then the riffs just have to be caveman. And so, and I was like, that's just the other side of like how to play hardcore, but try to be a little bit cooler, like that kind of
be
thing.
a little bit cooler,
or think that you're cooler. I don't know, like it's So, but like as somebody who was in a death metal band, like in 2008, when nobody cared about it at all, I see all these like tryhards like being like writing some of the dumbest OSDM stuff. I'm like, well, could you try a little bit, please? Like it's like. I was like, if you're gonna not try, play hardcore. Like,
literally.
I was like, do that. Like, you're writing just like ignorant breakdowns, but you call yourselves a death metal band. I was like, no, be a death metal band.
Yeah,
like, don't do the hardcore death metal thing because that's been done million times before.
And it's also like people fucking love that shit.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
But also, don't call us a deathcore band, man. I was like, shut up. Like, you guys are literally playing breakdowns. So you call yourselves a death metal band. I was like, that sounds like deathcore to me, dude. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, just saying.
No, we're an old school slamming brutal death band. And I was like, shut up. God, I don't care at all. So, but yeah, like I don't know. I will always choose melodic bands over like brutal bands.
Yeah,
because like brutal thing, like you can't out brutal each other.
No, you can't. You're I mean, devourment already exists.
Devourment already exists.
So like, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Like you can't out brutal them. Like that band is so brutal. Also, Suffocation exists. Yeah, you're never gonna be better than them.
Yeah.
So why are you trying?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah, why are you trying to be like C-rate Suffocation mixed with Devourment slams? Like shut up. Oh my God, do something different. Whereas like melodic, because like melodically you can always do something different, but when you're resolved to the first 4 frets, you can only write so many riffs, and they all sound exactly the same.
Yes, they do.
So I was like, I don't know. I think melodic bands are just way more interesting, which is why I like black metal, more black metal-y stuff, because you can do melodic stuff but still be like brutal,
Yeah.
essentially. So yeah.
What's the other band you want to start?
Like the melodic death metal band would be sick, but then like I don't know. I always just want to I would love to play like in a traditional like metalcore band again, but like I also know that that's stupid. So I'm like, so, but yeah, but like it would just be like the melodeath, and like that'd be fun. But like I would honestly play in any kind of band that's a genre that I haven't played already. Like if somebody was like, if a paid gig came along, they're like, hey, do you want to play in this band? That yeah, I could do that, and like tour and stuff like that.
Totally.
Oh, I just have to show up and play guitar and go on tour. Like sign me up, bud. Like let's go. So yeah.
No, I've been thinking about trying to do like an old school heavy metal thing. I mean, as you can see, that's my shit, dude. Like I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Like Omen.
Oh yeah.
That like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
That'd be fucking cool.
I think I think there's a lot of room for that too, because a lot of people like the nostalgia and the throwback of it. Yeah. As long as you do it like good. I mean, you don't even have to do it good. You could just do it like if you just do like mid-tier Maiden worship, like everyone will eat it up.
Oh hell yeah!
Like yeah, it's like as long as you have a solid group of musicians and the songs don't suck, like you'll do good.
Yeah,
like it's fine. Also, it's like way more fun to play that stuff, just because it's like mentally just fun to play.
Yeah,
and also it's like rewarding too. Versus like
you can be a little goofy with it.
Yeah, you can be goofy with it. Yeah. No one's gonna judge you for being a goofball because you're. Bro, I sing in a heavy metal band. Like, yeah, I know that this is good. In the year 20 in this economy, singing in a heavy metal band. I know I'm a goofball.
It's like when you're talking to everybody in Oreyn or whatever. It's just like it's like we're gonna pick up chicks with this.
You mean a black metal? Black metal? Yeah, no, that's not happening. So just like. Oh, how to get chicks in 2024? Play in a black metal band. Excuse me? Yeah. Like, what?
Is today opposite day?
Today is opposite day. I love it. But yeah, I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. That's kind of just like where it is. It's just like if I wouldn't find myself deep in these rabbit holes if I'm just like I couldn't enjoy the sauce that I'm getting soaked in. So, right. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So you're recording new records.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you're planning on going on tour? Do you already have another tour lined up?
Not yet. No. So we generally don't tour in the summer just because it's like that's when everybody tours and it's hot.
It is hot.
And so like I love touring between March and the end of May, and then between October and December. But like January, February, March, it's just sketchy to get out of Colorado, and then like December-ish can be sketchy. November can be sketchy, but like not that bad.
Yeah.
But like October and May are like perfect months to tour in because it's everywhere is pretty chill.
Yeah.
And like you'll get very temperament everywhere. You can get nice and warm in California, but then you'll get like it won't be too cold in the Midwest and that kind of stuff. But no, we actually just talked. I literally got a message today about as I rolled up about our October tour dates, like roughly confirming. So like we are planning. Cool. I'm planning 2 tours in October, November. So
damn.
And then we fingers crossed we might be doing New Year's tour. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Like I have an idea for it, and it's just very far out to execute. But the bands that I'm gonna hit up to do it are probably gonna be down for it. So fingers crossed, knock on wood.
That's the
plan. Yeah, right.
Alrighty, man. Well, I think that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, that's all you got.
Well, thanks for coming down, dude.
Yeah, dude. No problem. So bumps.
Yeah.
There we go.
It happened.
Yeah, just replace me with the lamp. It's because that light is so bright.
I know.
That it's like offset. So no, that looks fine.
Honestly?
Yeah.
I'm kind of into that.
That's fine.